All right, guys, welcome back to another week of the Revival podcast. Sorry we missed you guys last week. We had a few scheduling conflicts, but we're back here and we've got Lynsey Rangel with us. We're excited to have you on here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Now, before we dive in and get to know Lynsey a little bit, a couple of announcements and shout outs. First shout out I have is Denver. You guys earned the cruise incentive, the mega team incentive, which we're super proud of you guys. We're excited to have you on that cruise. And then quick announcement is next Saturday, April 10th, we've got our big company-wide summer kickoff event. That's going to be at headquarters in Orem out in what we call the yard. Okay, we're going to have food trucks there, like cornhole, bring the kids, bring the family. There's going to be bounce house. It's going to be a ton of fun. Just get everyone excited and ready for the summer. Okay. And then immediately following the kickoff event, everyone that was invited to the Leadership Summit, we're going to leave straight from the kickoff up to a cabin out in Camas. It's about an hour away from headquarters. And we're going to do some trainings that night, spend the night, and then we will be doing more trainings and activities on Saturday before we wrap up. So that's all we've got as far as announcement goes. But let's jump in. So this will actually be fun because Lynsey, I've worked with you for a little while, but honestly, we haven't ever got to sit down and just talk more about your background outside of
Yeah.
sales and work. So let's
Yeah.
actually start there. I want everyone to be able to kind of get to know you
Okay.
as well as myself. So let's rewind, back to more of your little bit of your upbringing,
Okay.
family, or if there's anything that you feel like is worth mentioning from growing up that has contributed to who you are today.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Arizona,
Okay.
and my parents were actually both in sales. And
Oh,
it's
really?
funny, in different ways. My dad was in insurance sales
Okay.
my whole life. And my mom did a lot of networking sales and what you would perceive as cold calling.
Okay.
And it's kind of interesting because I never wanted to do any of that at all. But it was they made a really great living. It was a really I learned a lot of interesting skills, and obviously they were good communicators because I feel like that's something you really have to be as I'm
Yeah.
now in this.
Right.
I realized that. I wanted to be in medicine my whole life when I grew
Really? I
up.
did
And
not know
so that was all I wanted to do and all I focused on. I was very focused on school. I went to private school my whole life. And that was really just what I focused on and did. And that's the pathway I took. But and I was in medicine. I was doing a lot of different things that I really liked and had a lot of passion about. Because for me, if I'm excited about it, it doesn't, I'll just keep going and pursue whatever I need to do to be successful at it. And I
Uh-huh.
just kind of get my mind set on something. A lot of things shifted for me in 2018 to 2020, pre-COVID and then through COVID. My dad was really sick, and he had he went from being completely healthy to having this really rare reaction to statin medication where he couldn't
Wow.
walk or
That's
talk, and he ended up in the
crazy.
ICU, and he had
Jeez.
to learn how to. He had a breathing tube and a trach, and he had to. It was just a really long process, and
That
I
was
took
all
off.
reaction from a medicine?
And
Wow.
it's very, very rare. And at the time, we were living in Cleveland, so we got really lucky. He got all of his care at Cleveland Clinic, which is a really amazing hospital system, and I think that's really why he made it through. But for me, it was really interesting. I had only really seen, and I know you did some medicine too, so I'm interested to
Yeah.
see your perspective. It's I had this viewpoint about idealize what it was. I just wanted to help people.
Right.
And I just wanted to be doing good, but like anything, medicine's a business.
Right.
And there's a lot of it's multifactorial and there's a lot of sides to it. And I think what started for me then was that I saw this other side I hadn't experienced being
Right.
the caretaker and being on the side where he was having a lot of issues and having to care for it, and I took time off work for a long time to help him, and
Mm-hmm.
it just really gave me this time and space away from that and realizing I don't know if I love this. I kind of bought into do you know
Yeah.
when you're like at that age where you buy into everything they tell you and then you
Yeah.
start to like have your own, like, is this
Yeah.
really what I want, or do I believe like what they're telling me how things are? And
Hmm.
so, and then of course it
And what
got,
kind of medicine were you like looking into and studying?
so more like surgical like things in
Okay.
surgery and like blood flow, blood vessels, different
Cool.
things like that. But the thing that really like kind of like then catapulted it was like in COVID, I was doing some travel work and then just be hearing what they're saying and we don't need to get into all that, but it was just very like interesting to be like in different hospital systems all like, and I was doing a lot of traveling while people weren't supposed to be traveling, and
Yeah.
just a lot of things changed for my perspective on like what medicine was and how it really operated, and I just had a really hard time like continuing to do that. And then I got a job opportunity out here, and my dad had gotten really well,
Hmm.
like, and so my younger sister lives here with her husband and her kids, and he really wanted to be out here, and so I moved us out here in like the end of 2020, and he died like a year,
Oh, really? I
like
did not know that.
basically like 6 months later.
After he got well.
Like, yeah, and a lot of it, which was crazy, and then again it contributed to like my thoughts on medicine. And I'm not saying that people would always experience this, but I
Hmm.
think you get the right experiences that
Hmm.
you need
Right.
to like move you on your path. Is that he was on this like special regimen. He had actually gotten to the point he was living alone. That's how well he had gotten.
Uh-huh.
And so we saw this specialist here, and I said like, please don't change the medicine, do anything like that. He's doing really well. We'd like, if it's going to change, to go through his like doctors back in
Yeah.
Cleveland, you
Uh-huh.
know. And we found out too late that the doctor changed his medication dose, and so he died because he relapsed
Dang.
because his medications weren't like therapeutic
Hmm.
level. So that was like a really also interesting thing, because you know like being in medicine, I wasn't like angry towards this doctor. I mean, you have like normal feelings, but people make mistakes. We're not
Hmm.
robots in medicine. So
Right.
it's like you can't, I can't be upset that this person, he thought he was probably doing the right
Right.
thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's a very like contradicting situation, because like of course I'm upset that my dad got sick and died, but then when he was so well, but like that's part of like things that happen. Do
Right.
you know what I mean? And so, but all those led me like, and then I took some time to really reflect on like myself after that and really work on myself. And I think I really just got to the point where I kept trying to like stay in medicine, and I was like really unhappy, and I
Hmm.
really didn't know who like I was outside of any of that. And so I just decided like I wanted to do something different, take a break from it, and like I was used to making pretty good money, like
Uh-huh.
even though I was working a ton, and if I could get a little more life balance too
Yeah.
and make decent money, I was like, so that's how it started, like coming into sales. And
Wow.
actually like my brother-in-law, who you know, like was doing really well, and I kind of was like, I'll try that. I was really looking at, and I wasn't really looking for that, but I
Uh-huh.
was like, okay, I'll try that to start. And I actually really thought that I would be doing this for maybe like be one of those people that like is here for a couple months, that
Yeah.
you know you're like,
Right.
okay, they move on. I never really expected to myself to be here for like, you know,
Yeah.
3 or going on like 4 years. So that's but I kind of trust like the way things take me after like having like a lot of
Yeah.
different life experiences, and like as long as I'm still growing and learning from like in whatever I'm in, then I can like, then I'm happy or I'm satisfied. And I have a
Yeah.
lot better like work life balance, personal happiness, and
Hmm.
personal, you do know what I mean?
Right.
And so like we have high stress moments or days like in what we do, but it's a lot different. And so it helps me have like better like stress,
Yeah.
better like happiness, better like if someone doesn't close or cancels on me, that's not like life or death, right?
Right.
And so like that's been really helpful for me and healing. Um, I will be honest, I don't know. Like I've had thoughts about like going back, but I'm so disillusioned at this point with like the this being like in the system, and if I can really like make positive
Right.
changes in
Yeah.
it, that I don't feel like that I want to do that at this
Yeah.
point. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy. And I'm so sorry about your dad.
Oh,
I
it's
actually
okay.
had no
I'm in a
idea.
really good place
Yeah.
with it. It was a really like positive healing situation for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Can you tell us actually, because you mentioned that afterwards you were able to take some time and really do a lot of work on yourself.
Uh-huh.
And obviously your viewpoint towards everything that happened is a very, very mature, very positive viewpoint. I think 9 out of
Yeah.
10 people would probably still sit here and, scream and yell and blame the doctor,
Yeah.
uh, even if it is their fault, right?
Yeah.
But like, tell me a little bit about what are some of like the lessons that you learned coming out of that, and as you're doing a lot of work on yourself, and maybe how you went about working on yourself.
So like right after like the weeks or months after like he died, I was like in a really low place like most people would be. Like
Yeah,
we were
for
really
sure.
really close, and we had like an unusual relationship because like most people like our age don't end up in the caretaker role of their parents so
Right.
young.
Yeah.
Do you know what
Usually
I
that
mean?
happens in your like
Later,
40s and
yeah, and it wasn't even just a little bit of caretaker, it was like a full so we had some really interesting dynamics in our relationship, but like I so I felt like I lost like this, not just like a parent, but this huge like part of my life, and I was just like pretty much the easiest way to explain is like I was a victim to my life. Like I was just like poor me, poor this situation that happened, and then like all the circumstances of it, it was like affecting my performance at
right.
work too, and just like how I was showing up, and like my other relationships, and just like I had this moment, and my dad was always one of those people who was just like, and I think I have this like resilience from him. He would always be like, and not just like ignore things, but just like you can get through this and you can come out like positive and like move on in a good way, not just like
Yeah.
get over it, but just like move forward. And I thought about like what got me through the first part of it was that I was like realized he would want me to be like living my best life,
Right.
and that he would be upset if I was like just wallowing over like his death. Like that would be
Mhm.
really upsetting to him. So it was my first months, it's like I lived for like that, not for myself really, for
Yeah.
like okay, he would want this. And then I actually got this like life coach or personal coach to really help me, and it was what we were kind of I was just kind of saying, like I just realized a lot of the areas of my life that I was like a victim to my life,
Mhm.
and rather than really owning my choices or taking responsibility for
Yeah.
them. And I feel like when you do that, you start to kind of unravel a lot. It can be a lot or
Right.
overwhelming for people. So sometimes I've noticed people who do work on themselves take one foot in, and then they'll kind of like stop or revert, because like you start to unravel a lot of patterns. Like you might be like this a total victim in like your like your personal relationship, and then like but still have victim behaviors in like your finances. They might
Yeah.
not be as big, but
Right.
usually the behaviors are like
Yeah.
carrying across in a lot of areas of your life. And so it really made me look at a lot of things that of how I was acting and how I was like like just treating people, treating myself, and like taking responsibility for like what had like transpired in my life, and my own unhappiness or frustrations or my own responsibility.
Yeah.
And like Ben and I have talked about a lot, and I'm sure you do too. It's like it's either like life is happening to you or for you. And
Mhm.
I know it sounds cheesy to people, but you really have to decide that, because it's like it's such a crux in like how you're going to enjoy and experience life, right?
Totally.
Because
Yeah.
and I one of the things like that I went on like I got obsessed like for a while. I don't know if you can relate with like the like the self-help things in certain ways, in the sense that I wanted to just like fix myself, and I didn't realize it. I just wanted to like, I was like, if I do enough of this work, I'm just gonna be like this perfect version of myself, or this like, and I didn't realize that for a while. So it's like doing all these retreats, doing all these courses, working with these people, feeling like if I could fix things in me, then I would like almost prevent life things from
Uh-huh.
happening. It was a very like naive way to,
Yeah.
but I didn't really see it as like I hadn't really accepted like life is going to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like for the great highs, you are going to have
The
hard
lows.
times,
Yeah.
and that's okay. It's like really the skill set you have to navigate them, and how you work through it and what you learn from it. Like my biggest thing is like I don't want to have a hard situation and then be repeating it, because that tells me that I haven't really grown. I haven't
Right.
really taken responsibility for like things that I've done. And if I'm kind of attracting the same kind of bosses, the same kind of
Right.
work situation, or like relationship problems. And so I've really gotten to this good place where it's like I've really accepted, because I want the high highs, but you
Yeah.
have to accept like the really
The lows.
lows as
Yeah.
well. And so that's what's really like been, I think, the most like powerful for me to like move through my life.
Yeah.
Do you know what
Wow.
I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's super powerful. And I love what you what you're saying about just taking like full responsibility on everything that's happening. And as you start to unravel things, it can be scary and uncomfortable, right? And that's why a lot of people
Totally.
probably start down that path and they say, never mind, I'm going to go back into this
Totally.
victim mentality, because
Yeah.
it's a lot easier
It's what
to,
you know.
yeah.
It's how
And
you function, and you've
yeah.
gotten through that way.
Yeah, and life is a lot easier when you're, well, life isn't easier, but it is a lot easier of an action to blame external factors or blame other people
Totally.
for your situation than to look at yourself and say, hey, actually, I am exhibiting all these behaviors and this is a pattern, and I am the first person to blame for this. Like I'm rereading Extreme Ownership right now. I don't know if you read
Yes,
that
I
one.
have.
It's like,
Yeah.
love that book. But yeah, it's just like that.
Very similar.
Yeah,
Just like the
just like taking.
Ho'oponopono. It's the same thing
Yeah,
as that, just in a different, just packaged in a
yeah,
different way.
yeah.
The one thing that I loved that ended up being like, and I think it was to no surprise now that I look back, is that being in this like door to door space and just the way the job works has been such a good reflection and challenge for me of the things I'm trying to integrate into my life. Meaning, you have to actually be present, like how your energy, we talked
Hmm.
about your presence, how, where you are today, this moment affects the interactions on my appointment, on that door, and I have to like let things go quickly
Oh
for the
yeah.
next door or the next appointment, and how I'm feeling, or if I let my outside like life that's happening to all of us, like you know what I
Yeah, yeah.
mean? Like that will affect like how I'm performing, how I'm training other people and showing up, or for myself, or how I'm holding myself accountable for my goals. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I think something that's really kept me in this is that like I'm trying to, Dr. Joe always says like there's this three ways. It's like you philosophize, and then you become an initiate of the things you think about, and then you become the expert or the master. And it's like I realized for a long time in all those things I was trying to get better is that I was like this philosopher of life. So I read a lot of things, I knew a lot of things, but my life was not matching, or my experiences weren't
Hmm.
matching these ways that I thought or
Right.
like felt. And so this job has been such an amazing gift to me to reflect like where I am, like my energy, my
Hmm.
emotions, like, and so that's really like I think that's something that's really kept me in it and like challenged me, because if I have a bad day or bad week, it's like wow, I get to like take accountability at the end of
Yeah.
the day, like okay,
Yeah.
wow,
It
like
it exposes you
exposes
more than
you.
any
And
other
I think
job,
that's
right?
what can be really hard for
Yeah.
people, not just the things about like, oh, I don't know if
Hmm.
I'm making money this week. I think when you do this long enough and you get in like good skill sets, like most of us, like I know I'm making X amount at least this, you know what I
Right.
mean? You know, you're confident in your skills. Really to stay in it, it's like, can I deal with, like, I have to face myself constantly in different ways that I don't even know what it will
Yeah.
be today,
Yeah.
you
That is
know?
such a cool perspective. And I'll be honest, I've never actually totally viewed door to door through that lens. That is
Yeah.
such a cool lens to view it through. Is like, hey, this is a total exposure job where it's like you will know 100% if you are out of alignment
Alignment?
and not doing well in other aspects of your life based on your results in this job.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're doing well there and you've gained like the basic skill sets, you're going to do well
You
here.
are. And if you're doing the work, you're not just saying it or
Yeah.
you just don't, it's not just about knowing it. You're like,
Hmm.
I'm doing it. I'm going to
Yeah.
like put, like, we can listen to your like law of attraction, like lectures and be
Hmm.
excited or like bends. But it's like, if you don't like do the manifestation
Right.
thing or whatever it is for you, then it's like, you're still back where you are. And that's not to be mean. It's just like,
Right.
that's just the
Yeah.
reality, you know? And
Yeah.
if you
It's,
want to see something different, you have to put yourself in the
hmm.
uncomfortable, like unknown
Yeah.
of like, okay, what's it gonna be?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a lot of really cool background
Okay.
on
Cool.
you and lessons that you've learned. I want to hear a little bit more about your story jumping into the sales. You started to kind of hit on that.
Okay.
Let's continue that story. How you actually jumped into sales. What was your
Okay.
first sales position?
Well,
Yeah,
you with this with door to door.
yeah.
The first sales I did was door to door, and so my brother-in-law Dan, that you know,
Hmm.
like, he had been doing really well, and we're
Hmm.
my sister and I are
And
super
was he?
close.
Did he start in Windows
Uh
or
huh.
okay?
He never done any sales
Okay.
either. He was a teacher before that,
Right.
and
Oh, that's
like,
right. I remember that.
they were really trying to like change their life like a lot and have a new direction, and
Hmm.
he had been doing that probably 6 8 months maybe before, and so I'd been hearing about it, seeing how well he's doing, and I at the same time was paralleling when I was like, I had been wanting to do something different. It's just like we were talking about, it's like
Yeah.
the desire was there, but I wasn't taking the action yet.
Right.
So I finally just was like, okay, tell me what this is about and like, what do you do? Because I was looking to push myself to finally get out of what I was doing because I wanted things different in my life. And I was like, if I don't take an action, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so he gave me the script, and I was like, he had
And
me meet.
when was this? Because I started a little bit after Dan in Windows. I remember
Yeah.
we
So,
probably started
yeah,
similar
similar
timing
time.
actually.
Yeah.
So I think I was like late 2022. I think like November 2022, something like that.
Yeah. I'm
Do you
pretty
remember
sure
where?
it was like 2022 or 2023. No, 2022. Yeah. In like the spring.
Uh huh. Okay.
And so I went in and I like met Eric, who is
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Love Eric. And honestly, I think I had like a good situation where it's like, if I didn't have Eric or someone
Hmm.
awesome, like have to be like an
Oh yeah.
Eric, a you, a
Yeah,
Ben,
for
where I
sure.
feel like I would be like, okay, this isn't like weird and like,
Hmm.
and Dan wasn't going to be in the office I was, because at the time I moved north for like a year.
Okay.
I really wanted to change. I
So
was
you're gonna be
trying
up
to
in
make
that
these
like
things to get
Kaysville office.
out of like this lifestyle I
Yeah.
was getting, and part of that was moving. So I
Hmm.
moved, but I didn't want to leave Utah, so I
Yeah.
moved north. Yeah, I was living in Layton, and so I went to that office and I just like learned the script, and I was like, you know what? I was the worst person. I was like, if I don't get a sale in like the first like, week or few days, I'm out. I had that in my mind. I didn't tell
Yeah.
anyone that. I was just like, but I was really doing it to be like, put yourself out of your comfort zone, make the first steps to like just
Hmm.
do something different, because
Yeah.
I hadn't known anything different. And I was like, so my first real day of knocking was a Saturday, and I was like, they like sent me on my own, and I got the same day. And then the closer was basically, I don't think this will close, just so you know, because they told me they had a credit fail with another company. And at
Got
that
it.
time, I didn't even know what the
Yeah.
heck that meant. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm just excited I set an appointment. So, but then I got like almost a $30,000 same day close
From that one.
from that
That's
one.
crazy.
My first sale, my first set. So it was like one of those like
Yes,
lucky,
like super
lucky
awesome.
door to door people. And then
Yeah.
I was like, and then they were telling me how much I would make, and I was like, okay, I'm in. And like sometimes you just need that little win, and that looks different for each person, right? I needed that, and I was willing to commit what I needed to do after that on my end. I was willing to give it like everything. And so I saw what Dan was doing. I definitely wanted to be doing that over, like, I thought I would be better at closing than setting, but
Yeah.
I was really good at setting, and it was just really easy. Like, not like it's, but just it happened really smoothly. I just did what they said. I did the work.
Right.
I worked the longest and the hardest of everybody, but it wasn't about doing that. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And so I ended up qualifying at the end of the summer, like, and I was like the first girl there to get like be a closer, and it was like really exciting for me because all these things, like, I really like a challenge, and so I really liked the whole time. It was just like always something new I had to learn. Then I
Right.
didn't know anything about like I hadn't even been in an appointment. I had like tons and tons closed, but I hadn't even
Yeah.
like been in an appointment until I started closer training.
Wow.
And then I was like, I got really excited by the challenge of like what I had to learn and how I had to grow to become good at like closing.
Yeah.
And I still really love it. And I think it'd be like, I always say with my sister, like my dad, I think would be really proud. I mean, I think he'd be like interested that I'm not doing medicine. But he's like, was one of those parents, I don't know how yours are, but that like, he like loved and supported me and my sisters no matter what we did.
Right.
Like, so it wasn't really about like doing this
Yeah.
or having
Right.
this
Right.
accolade.
It's like whatever you feel
But
like
I think
is your
he'd be
thing,
super
he'll support you.
excited knowing like that I did sales and he did sales his whole life, and
Yeah.
like I'm been doing pretty good. I don't feel like I'm great yet because I just don't feel like I have like the reps and the time and the knowledge yet.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
You're pretty good. It's like I'm actually curious if you know, because I know you've been at a few different companies closing, what your like all-time revenue is, but you've done millions
Yeah.
of sales.
Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
have.
good.
I have. Yeah.
That's
And
pretty
I know
good.
I'm pretty happy.
You gotta
I'm
take a
pretty
little bit
happy.
of credit
I
there.
know. I just like my personality is always like, how can I do better? Like even the position you guys have helped create for me now, it's like a lot of it came from like I want to challenge myself to do
Yeah.
better. And I was even saying to like some of my friends, it's like I'm struggling again because it's like I'm not great yet. Like I'm okay, but I'm
Right.
like I have like this, but it's what I wanted, like my
Yeah.
next challenge.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so it's like
It's a cool place to be.
it's a good thing for me, but it's always like a balance, like you said, because sometimes I can be like too hard on myself instead of being like, wow, so many things are going well. I want to be like, how do I do even better?
Yeah.
Or I said to Christy after the my first home show, I'm like, well, I didn't get these ones. And she's like, it was your first one. So it's like, that's something I
Right.
have to constantly be in check of myself of like, okay, some things take time, like becoming a good setter, becoming a good closer. And I
Yeah.
know that when I teach people that or
Yeah,
train.
it's the gap in the game, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
but it's like taking my own advice sometimes back is like, I know I won't be where I am in 3 or 6 months, like on this like retail, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Closing, but it's like, I want to be there already. But if it was that easy, then it wouldn't be like a good growth opportunity for me
Right.
either. And so that's like, that's where I know I'm in the right spot for myself. Where there's enough challenge and enough self-responsibility where I have to put in the work to get better. It's like I realize that's 4 or 5 months into closing, anyone that's like a newer closer or even experienced probably knows, it's like you realize like that you're gonna get so many sales by like what you guys like the pitch, like the everything,
Right.
and just the certain customers we get through the door. But then if you want to get to your next level. You want to have the next closer, like higher closing ratio. Like you have to gain other skills or bring other things you're doing outside of work and discipline to up level yourself. Or you can keep making whatever you are, but if you want to get there, you have to take that on yourself.
Yeah, I love that mentality. That's something I've always admired about you from when you first came in the company, is like you were always hungry to learn more and to level up. Because I think a lot of closers get to a level where it's like, hey, this is like the standard, or I'm above
Because you're
average.
making such good money too,
you're making,
and you're good.
Yeah, you're making $20,000-$30,000 at least per month, and you're at or above the average, and you think, hey, I'm doing good. Like this is it, right?
Yeah.
But you're like, no, like I want to get to the next level. I want to get to the next level. Like what else do I need to do? And still,
my goal right now is like, can I close how I close the door to door? Like I want to, like, it's a lofty goal.
Right.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but I'm like, if I put in the work, how could I not get there?
Yeah, because there's always things that you can do different. So tell us a little bit about, just for like all the closers out there, what are some of the things that you did both inside the job as well as maybe like external help that you found to try to always level up your game?
Okay. Well, so like personally, I think like what you mentioned, like if you have your personal life dialed in, like,
Right.
and it's just silly, like you're eating, you're working out, like your simple stuff. But then like for me, it's like I always like pray, meditate, things like that. Like, and when I notice I get out of that, or I'm not as intentional with that, I don't like put out the time, then the results that I get and just like my effectiveness day to day, like what I do and how I show up, how present I am in meetings, conversations, is a lot lower. And so that's something I personally try to do. And I would say for each person that looks different. I'm not trying to tell people go meditate, but like find your thing that like plugs you in and makes you know, like, my cup is full. Like Ben and I have talked about that before. He loves running. Like, just everyone has different things, and I think it's like if you find the thing that does things, like fills you up, then you like are more effective and productive in how you show up and the energy people feel from you, your coworkers, like the people you're in the appointments of. But like the one thing with the closing is that like I was a victim here, and I'll be honest, because I've been in a few companies that I had said they should teach me how to be a better closer. Like all they do is focus on setters. Like I had this really negative like view for a while that like I have 2 closer meetings a week, and all they are is logistical, like at least at my last company. And like I'm not growing, and I think I put it in my mind and even out loud, like I thought it was their responsibility to take me there. I was like, how come we train setters like every day and we like go over things, but we're not doing that? And I was like, you know what? If I want something different and that's not how it is right now, like I hope it will still get that way and I can bring that as a suggestion. I'm not going to stop doing that.
Yeah.
But I have to take my own accountability instead of just sitting here day after day, week after week with the same results. And so what I just did was like haphazardly, just like online, looking for people, like trying like free offerings and finding the people that resonated with me. And then I like was willing, like most people say, to invest in myself. And like I paid for a couple of programs and like to be in, and like a lot of it is like more self-discipline. Like one of the things I did over the summer that I'm so grateful for is like I got into the habit from this program I was in of like actually spending a minimum of 20 minutes, but like up to 30 to 40, like just on my script. So I would throughout the week be working on objection script and like practice. And like when you get to this point, and I know there's a bunch of us here who are similar to my level, it's like it's actually really easy to just like feel like you've got it. Like you know what I mean? And like to be like
so key.
To be like, okay, I'm good. Like but it's like if you don't dial in, and I would also say for the new people, if you did this earlier, you would just like take off a lot faster. But it's the personal willingness to put in the time to work on your own craft. Like your market owner, your other closers can teach you things, you can watch things, but if you don't put it, it's like you can watch people go to the gym, but you're not going to get more fit if you don't go work out, even if you look silly
Yeah.
until you know what you're doing,
Right.
you know? And like what I would do is I would figure out things I wanted to try, like say even a new phrase. And so I wouldn't practice on like qualified appointments. And I always tell like my co-closers this. I would like if it's like a for sure CAD and I'm going to run it and like I don't there's probably no chance it's closing. I'm like this is a great opportunity for me to practice something new I'm trying in my script.
Yeah.
See how it goes. And like I'd also started recording myself and listening and that's super uncomfortable, honestly. I didn't want to do it, but it's like so helpful for you because it's like those micro things when you get to this level,
Right.
the micro things, and you've talked about this a lot, that
Yeah.
really take you to the next level. The same thing with setting, the micro things that take you to your next level. It's usually not like a big deficit you have, or you wouldn't really be probably closing well at all,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, and when I get off of that, like, and I'm not doing that, then I'm not closing as well. I'm not even as confident in myself. I notice the huge confidence difference. If you're
Yes.
practicing and you're not practicing just on your money, like even if they're CADs, it's like you have this bigger reservoir of like, okay, I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I can handle, like, if I got in a question I didn't know how to answer like that, or I had to call Joe, I was like going back and like scripting out so that I am repeating like what I was
Yeah.
going to say
Right.
for the next time. Even if it was months later, someone would ask me that question. Because, like, and I get this a lot, and I feel like I've earned it. Is like, I have a lot of homeowners tell me, like, you're so knowledgeable, or you're so, like, it's so clear you know so much about what you're doing. It's because it's like every time I find a gap in something I don't know, it's like I want to close that gap
Yeah. Yeah.
for like the next time. And I'm always thinking about like the setter too. It's like, how can I do better? Like, I don't want to ever leave an appointment and feel like I didn't put everything on the table. And that's why I want to keep working on myself, because I got to the point really early in my closing that I felt like I wasn't closing things, but I didn't feel like I was putting it on the table. And that's where I am right now again. And that's why it's uncomfortable, but it's a good uncomfortable. Like with the retail, it's like, I'm not getting some deals, but I was like, if I felt like I was putting everything I had, I could be like, okay, I'm just not going to get them
Right.
all.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like it's really important not to like feel like we're going to get them all, but like I put everything
Everything
that I
possible.
have,
Yeah.
you know, and I've tried my best to like up level my skills
Yeah.
to get there.
Yeah, and I want to go back to one thing that you mentioned because I think this is huge. Because we see this pattern where new closers and new setters, they both do actually pretty good when
To
they start
start.
most of the time.
Yeah.
And then they go through like this dip and then they work their way back up. But then a lot of closers will actually never fully get back to where they were at the
Oh,
beginning,
really?
or they'll kind of
Plateau.
just get up to a part where they just plateau and it's not as high as it could be. And I think the key is going back to that practice and that scripting, not on just like the basic script, but on the things outside of that basic script, the objections, how to turn a CAD into a run.
Yeah.
How do I get past it when they, when they're saying that they want to go get these other quotes, right? Those are things that closers, I would assume, okay, for everyone out there listening, are not practicing on their own
Yeah.
outside of actually in the deal when it happens, which is not the time to
Yeah.
practice the new skill necessarily,
Yeah.
or to gain a new skill, I should say. And then closer meeting only happens twice a week, and whether or not they go over that exact objection that you need to practice, who knows,
Who knows?
right?
Yeah.
But if you're doing that on your own time and you're always sharpening the saw there, you're going to be able to go into those appointments so much more confident because you're like, dude, I mastered that. I'm
Totally.
ready for whatever objection I've
Whatever you
got. I'm
said.
ready for it. I
Yeah.
scripted it, and this is exactly how I'm going to respond.
Yeah. And I'll say something that was really amazing for me. And if anyone can, as a setter or a closer, you could do this. And it's like, is finding a person that you kind of vibe with. because it's uncomfortable to bring up like I didn't know what to say in that. We all want to look like we know what
Right.
we're doing, and I
Right.
think that's a lot of it. I'm a little less willing, or like I don't actually care probably more than most people. Like if like I tell you I just don't know, like I'm happy to tell you, oh, I lost these ones, like help me, because I'm like I'm really thinking help me get better.
Right.
Like I can't save
Right.
that one, but like I don't want to lose that kind of
Again,
appointment
right?
again. So like I'm willing to like put aside my ego and be like, just help me. How do I get over this next time? Do you know what I mean? And so I got really lucky in Kaysville because Hayden and I had a very similar mentality of like growth and like learning, and we would talk a lot.
Uh-huh.
And like it's really nice to like I would say, "Hey, I'm running this new line in my script and this is how it's working." And then he'd be like, "Oh, I ran into this. What do you think?" And I say that because like you can find one person in your office, or there's like now 4 offices. Like literally find someone that you vibe with, that they're like, or they have that drive to grow. And if you don't have it in your office, like come to me or come to like ask you,
Right.
because you could probably pair them with someone else. But like don't let your environment hold you back, because I let that happen a lot of times. That was one of the first times I ended up in an office with someone very similarly
Right.
matched to me.
Right.
And I realized again, I was waiting for that to happen instead of being more proactive. And so I think if you can find someone or take that step to ask someone, like, hey, will you run things with me like once a week even?
Yeah.
It would make a huge step, because they're going to have a different perspective, or they're going to tell you something they're working on. And it makes like what I really love about this company, because sales is so competitive, and that's okay. And it should be.
Right.
That's how we do well. But like there's a lot of just like growth together and working together in this company, and that's what I really wanted. Like I don't want to compete against my co-closers, honestly, in a way where like I do want to see like Hayden's doing better than me, Brennan's doing like in a way where I'm like, I remember at the last summit I asked Brennan like, what are you doing, because I want to know like how
Right.
to up level, like what are you saying? And it's like I want to be in situations where the people around me want to do that, or if they ask me, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing and it's working
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah. You can go to
Because
the top people and say, "What are you doing? Help me get there." And they're like,
yeah.
"Let me show you what I'm doing."
And like,
Yeah, that's 100%.
because you've excelled so high, it's like it doesn't feel as good if you're just at the top, because like
Because you're hiding all of your secrets or something.
or
Yeah.
because like like you weren't challenged. I
Yeah.
want to be challenged too. Okay, like now, like, oh, say Joseph comes up, he's doing amazing, it's like great, that's motivating me to like,
Right.
what is he doing that's doing so well? Like, and I really love that here we're able to do that you have the summits, that you also like encourage people to learn from each other. It doesn't mean that like everything other people are doing is going to work for me,
Yeah.
but it's like that you're not like holding it back or gatekeeping it, because
Right.
then that's a in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lack
That is-
mentality, where it's like I feel like there's so many deals and enough that we all can be making tons every
Yeah.
week. We don't have to feel like only one person can be at the top.
Yeah.
And I think when you get in that mentality, you have to have a reset or recheck no matter what position you're in, because like there's an abundant amount of people, homes, like all the things for us to all succeed. And so I really
100% agree.
appreciate that culture you guys have here, because it's already competitive enough in sales.
Right.
We don't need to compete like
Against
against,
each other.
and that doesn't like help us grow together, is how I feel. Like if
Right.
if you're feeling like you're competing, then you feel like you have to hold back like
Yeah.
what's working well.
Totally. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. Well, you've unraveled a lot of really, really insightful things that I hope people can take. So everyone watching, like closers especially, right? Like go and spend some time on your script, spend some time on objections.
Yeah.
And then setters and closers alike, go and spend some time on reflecting on yourself. Like make sure you've got your stuff together outside of work so you can fully show up and do the work while you're here.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of wrapped up actually
Yeah.
on time. That was
Awesome.
super fun to have you on here.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for coming
having
in.
me.
Yeah.